In this video, we are going to look at sample solved objective questions under biomolecules, carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, and lipids. Don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button after watching so that you can receive every post and update on this channel. So let's begin. Question 1 says, which elements are abundantly found in living organisms with comparison to the Earth's surface? So which of these elements are found in living organisms on the Earth's surface? We have carbon here, we have hydrogen. Is it oxygen or all the above? Okay, so all these elements are basically found in organisms on the Earth's surface. So the answer for question 1 here is all the above, because oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon are all part of elements or compounds, living organisms on the Earth's surface. Question 2, to analyze the chemical composition of living tissue, we solubilize them in. So if you have a chemical tissue or a tissue and you want to analyze the chemical composition, you have to first make it soluble by using an acid. So is it a nitric acid? Is it a hydrochloric acid? Is it a trifluoroacetic acid or trichloroacetic acid? So here the answer is D. Trichloroacetic acid is mostly the acid we use to solubilize a living tissue when you want to analyze the chemical composition, let's say in the laboratory. Question 3. The percentage composition of oxygen in human body. So the human body is made of about 65% of oxygen. So the answer here is A. Okay, let's see the chemical analysis of this living tissue. We have a vegetable tissue plus a trichloroacetic acid to give us an acid soluble pool, a filtrate, and acid insoluble pool. So you have a living tissue and you want to analyze the chemical composition. We have to solubilize it in a trichloroacetic acid, and that gives us two fractions. The filtrate will contain the acid soluble pool, which is mostly the component of the cytoplasm, which has a very low molecular weight of, let's say, about less than 800 daltons. Then the macromolecules will form part of the acid insoluble pool. So this question demands for the A and the B respectively in this. So this part is the acid insoluble pool, which is the macromolecules, and this one is the cytoplasmic content, which has a very low molecular weight of less than about 800 daltons. So let's see the answers here is the A greater than that. So this one is wrong. So the B is the A is 18 to 800 daltons is correct, and the B is nucleic acids. Okay, so the answer here is B. The answer for question 4 is B, because the A here is macromolecules, which has a biomolecule, which has a molecular weight of 18 to 800 daltons, and C here is the nucleic acid, which form part of the macromolecule compounds. Now question 5. All the carbon compounds that we get from living tissue can be called, biomolecules. So here the answer here is biomolecules. The answer is D. Question 6. Select the incorrect compound that we get from living tissue can be called. So select the incorrect compound that we get from the living tissue can be called. So this question is not all that clear, but let's see how best you can answer. Which of these is incorrect? Elemental analysis of living tissue gives elemental composition of living tissue. So this one is okay. You have to select the incorrect, let's say, statement among this. So elemental analysis of living tissue gives elemental composition of living tissue. Which one is true? Analysis of chemical compounds of living tissue gives idea of organic and inorganic constituent of living tissue. Which one is true? Weight of small amount of living fresh tissue is known as the wet weight. Okay, this one is true. And D, the acid soluble pool contains lipids, nucleic acids, and polysaccharides only. So here let's see the acid soluble pool, as we even saw in this flow chart, is made of small molecular weight. So the answer for question 6 is D, because the acid soluble pool contains rather small molecular weight, not the macromolecules. So the answer question 6 is D. Now question 7. The biomolecules whose weight is less than dash Dalton is referred to as the biomacromolecule. So biomolecules with a very low weight of less than 1000 Daltons are the biomicromolecules. So the answer for question 7 is C. Let's take note of that. Which of the following is not a macromolecule? A macromolecule. So macromolecules are basically polymers of monomers. So which of these is not a polymer? Polymer. So nucleic acids are polymers of nucleotides. Polysaccharides are polymers of monosaccharides. Proteins are polymers of amino acids. But lipids are just compounds made of, let's say, a backbone being glycerol is phingolipids, or sphingosine, and let's say some fatty acids. So the answer question 8 is C, not a macromolecule, but rather a biomolecule, but not a macromolecule, because it is not a polymer. Lipids are extracted with acid insoluble fraction. The acid insoluble fraction. Why? Because I think its molecular weight is less than, no. Lipids form the vesicles or micelles which are not soluble in water. So this is the answer. 9 is B. So lipids form a micelle, or let's say an insoluble complex in water. That's why we can be extracted from the insoluble fraction when treated with trichloroacetic acid. Question 10. Select the incorrect margin for the component percentage in living tissue. So which of these is not correct? In a tissue, we have water. Okay, 70 to 90% is true. Protein is 10 to okay. Okay, carbohydrates is 4. So the answer is C, because carbohydrates range from about, I think, 10 and above, not 2%. So the answer for question 10 is C. Question 11. Dash of the total mass of a cell is formed by ions. So the mass of a cell, about 1% of the mass of a cell is formed by ions. So question 11, the answer is A. So monomeric unit of cellulose. Cellulose is basically made of glucose. Cellulose is made of glucose molecule, which is a polysaccharide made of glucose monosaccharide unit. Monomeric unit of inulin. Inulin is also polysaccharide. is fructose. Fructose is made of, or is the monomer of inulin polysaccharide. Let's take note of that. Question 14. Which of the following is a homopolysaccharide? So a homopolysaccharide is made of only a single monosaccharide residue. So here you have a cellulose made of glucose only, inulin made of only fructose, and starch made of glucose only. So the answer is D. All of these are homopolysaccharides. Let's take note of that. Starch forms a helical dash structure that can hold dash molecules and give the blue color. So how to test for starch? When starch is in iodine solution, what it happens is it forms a secondary structure. It forms a secondary structure that can hold and react with the iodine molecule to give that blue colored complex. So the answer for question 15 is B. Select the incorrect statement from the following. So select the incorrect statement from the following. We have cellulose does not contain complex helices. Cellulose does not give color with iodine. Cotton fiber, plant cell wall are made of cellulose. Cellulose is a heteropolysaccharide. So the answer is D. Cellulose is made of only glucose, which is a homopolysaccharide. So the answer is D, because cellulose is not a heteropolysaccharide. Question 17. Which of the following is amino sugar? So amino sugar made of, let's say, sugar and an amino group. So is it the glucose amine, galactose amine, both A and B, or none of these? So I think the answer is C, both A and B, because glucose amine is made of glucose and amino group. Galactose amine is made of galactose and amino group. So the answer is C, both A and B. Question 18. Chitin Is it a homopolysaccharide? Is a heteropolysaccharide? Yeah, the answer is B, because chitin is made of N-acetyl glucosamine. N-acetyl glucosamine, so it's made of a glucose residue bonded to N-acetyl group. So chitin is a heteropolysaccharide made of glucose residue as well as N-acetyl group. So chitin is present in, it is mostly found in the exoskeleton of arthropods. Is it found in the cell wall of fungus? Okay, or let's say, is it the ceta of the earthworm? So I think that all of these are true, because chitin is found in the exoskeleton of arthropods, also found in the cell wall of fungus, and also the ceta of earthworm. So the answer for this one is all the above. Okay, so let's continue. Question 20. In glycogen, which kind of linkage is formed between the adjacent glucose molecules? So in glycogen, form alpha, it's 1,4 glycosidic bond between the adjacent glucose. So the answer for 20 is A. Let's take note. Or let's see in glycogen, which kind of linkage is found between the adjacent glucose molecule? No, so it is have 1,4,1,1,6. So the answer is C rather, sorry. So in glycogen forms 1,4 linkage and 1,6 linkage. So the answer is C. I think it skipped me. Sorry for that. Question 20, the answer is C. 21. Which of the following is incorrect about glycogen? So 21, which of this is incorrect about glycogen? It is a stored form of glucose in animals. In glycogen, the right end is reducing end and the left is the non-reducing end. It is a branched polymer of glucose. It is a stored form of glucose in plants. No, so the answer is D. Because glycogen is stored form of glucose in animals. The right end is the reducing end, of course, because it has this amino group there, and or the free non-bonding acetyl group there. Carbonyl group there, and the left end is the non-reducing end. It is branched polymer of glucose, of course, but it is not a stored form of glucose in plant. Starch is rather the stored form of glucose in plant, so let's take note of that. The answer of 21 is D. 22. The bond formed between two adjacent monosaccharides is, so it's a glycosidic bond. This is the bond that joins two monosaccharides to form either an oligosaccharide, disaccharide, or even polysaccharide. So it's a glycosidic bond. Blood concentration of glucose in the normal human body or healthy human body is, that is B. So for every healthy human body, the blood concentration must be around 4.5 to 5 millimolar concentration. Which of the following is the correct Haworth structure of glucose? So Haworth structure of glucose, let's see how we can deduce this. No, it's not this, it's not that. So the answer is C. This structure is the correct Haworth structure of glucose. When glucose finds itself in a solution, it tends to form a cyclic structure, and all the hydroxy group at the left side of the fixture projection will come up here as shown here. So the hydroxy group on the third carbon of the fixture projection will come up. So the answer for question 24 is C. 25. Which is the correct representation of ribose? Wow, so ribose is a pentose sugar. So it is basically going to be this. Yes, of course. So the answer is B. This is ribose sugar. The answer is B. 26. Which of the following is a stored form of energy in plants? As we said earlier, it is starch. It is starch. Lipids are A. Is it compounds of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen? Is true. Is it compounds of glycerol and fatty acids? Can be true. Is it insoluble in water? Is true. Or all of this? So the answer is all of these, because all of these about lipids are true. Lipids may be 28. Lipids may be fatty acids, glycerol, compound respectively of both or all the above. 28, the answer is D, because lipids can be any of the listed above. Which is the number of carbon atoms with palmitic and arachidonic acid which contains, including carboxy group? So the number of carbon atoms in palmitic and arachidonic acid respectively is 16 and 20. So the answer for 29 is C. So let's go to question 30. Question 30. Fat or oils are, so fat or oils are, is it a monosaccharide, is it a disaccharide, is it a trisaccharide, is it a monoglyceride, a diglyceride, a triglyceride, or all of these? So fat or oils can either be any of these. It can be any of these. So the answer is D. It can be any of the above. Which of the following is an example of a phospholipid? A phospholipid. So let's see. Is it palmitic acid? No. Is it arachidonic acid? No. Is it glycerol? No. It is lecithin. So lecithin is a phospholipid made of glycerol backbone, two fatty acids, a phosphate group, and an alcohol we call a choline. So lecithin is phosphatidylcholine, which is made of phosphate group. So lecithin is a phospholipid. 32. Which of the following is correct about lipids? So which of this is correct about lipids? Okay, so on the basis on melting point, they are divided into fat and oils. Okay, this one is true. Neural tissues are made up of simple lipids only. No. Phospholipids never form part of the cell membrane first force, and lipids are strictly bound. No. So the answer is A. 32, the answer is A. So we can divide lipids into fat and oils based on their melting point. Fats tend to have a very higher melting point, and oils have a very low melting because they are mostly liquid at room temperatures. Select the incorrect matching regarding the following diagrams. Wow. So which of these do you think is true? So A, purines, its metabolism forms uric acid, so that is true. Uracil is exclusively found in RNA, so that's true. Adenylate acid is a monomer of both RNA and DNA. No. Cholesterol forms part of it. Okay, so the answer is C. The answer is C, because adenylate acid is mostly the monomer of RNA molecule. RNA molecule. So let's take note of that. So the answer for question 33 is C. 34. Which of the following is correct about amino acids? So which of these is correct about amino acid? Is it a compound containing amino acidic group? Is it a substitute and is a methane? It is based on the nature of R group and the okay. So all of these are true about amino acids. So the answer voted for is D, because amino acids are made of amino group and acidic group. It is just like a substitute of methane because it has a central carbon, which is the alpha carbon bonded to an amino group, carboxylic group. So we assume it is the methane whose hydrogen has been replaced by these functional groups. So the answer for 34 is D. 35. How many amino acids are used to form protein? So the answer is B, straightforward. 20 known amino acids are used to form proteins. So let's look at this diagram. It's a structure of alpha amino acid based on different R groups. So let's see. We should select the correct amino acid according to different R groups here. Okay, so if we have this as a template of all amino acid, this R group. So if the R is H, is it glycine? Yes, it's true. If the R group is CH, so is it alanine? Yes, it's true. If the R group is hydroxymethyl, is it serine? It's true. So the answer is D, all the above. All of these are true because how these R groups correspond directly to this amino acids. The chemical and physical property of amino acids are based on the chemical and the physical properties. Okay, one based on the R groups, whereas the functional properties is based on the backbone conformation. Okay, so the answer for 37 is C. 38. Okay, so match the correct column to each of these. So let's see here. A, acidic matches to which one? So which of these is an acidic amino acid? So A matches to 3. So let's see options. Which one does A matches to 3? So the A came for the A for the option. First one, the A matches to 3. The B is the basic amino acid which matches to 2. Lysine is true. The C is the neutral amino acid which is valine, is 1. Then the D is an aromatic amino acid being a tyrosine, phenylalanine, or tryptophan. So the answer for the margin is A. This one, the A. Okay. Question 39. Which of the following is a zeta ionic form of amino acid? So zeta ionic form of amino acid is neutral because it has a charged carboxylic and an amino group. So is it this? Is it that? So the answer is C. Okay, no. If you have NH2, there's going to be no charge on this. So the answer is B. So NH3 with plus charge and carboxylic acid with a minus charge, such that the net charge on this atom, or let's say on this compound amino acid, is 0. It's a zeta ion. So the answer is B. Okay, so let's see some possible questions under proteins too. Then you see how best you are continuing. Question 40. Protein is a homopolymer, is a heteropolymer, is a polypeptide for both A and B, both B and C. Let's see. Well, it is a heteropolymer and also a polypeptide. So the answer is both B and C. So the answer for this one is D. Essential amino acids are those which are the essential amino acids? They are those which are not synthesized by our body. Okay, it's true. So let's see that options only used to form proteins, not forever. No. So essential amino acids are the amino acids where the body cannot synthesize them, rather we need them in food that we eat. So the answer for 41 is A. The most abundant protein in animal world is, so the most abundant protein in animal world is collagen. Where is it? 40. Yeah, collagen. Okay, so it's just a granules in most extracellular environment. So this protein is found in almost everywhere in the body because it is found in extracellular environment, just an intracellular ground substance found in extracellular fluid. So collagen is the most abundant protein in animals. So the most abundant protein in the whole biosphere, okay, the whole biosphere, the most abundant protein is rubisco enzyme is found, I think, mostly in plants, and some animals too have them, which helps in photosynthesis. So this is the most abundant protein in the whole biosphere, but those in animals is collagen. So protein act as enzyme is true. They can act as receptors is true. They can act as antibodies. So for the 44, the answer is D. Okay, let's see which one, how we can match this one to correctly. You see, we have to match the following columns. So collagen. So collagen, what is collagen? As we discussed here. So collagen is an intercellular ground substance. So okay, sorry, it says found in cell rather, sorry. It is intercellular ground substance. Intercellular ground substance. So it's found in almost every cell. That's why it's found in between, almost every cells in the body. That is why we term it as the most abundant protein in the animal world. So one cell here and one cell here, in between them there is going to be a collagen fiber. It is also most component of connective tissues in the body. So collagen is an intercellular gram substance. So which of the here you have A matching to 6. So the A matches to 6, then the B matches to 2. What is B? Trypsin is an enzyme is true. The C matches to 1. Let's say insulin is a common is true. D matches to 5. Receptor is a sensory reception in the protein is true, and E matches to 4. What is E? The glucose 4 is a glucose transporter is true, and F matches to 3. Antibody is to fight infectious agents. So the answer is B. The margin here is the correct margin. Question 46. The macromolecular fraction is comprised by which of the following? So the macromolecular fraction is comprised by which of the following? Is it a polynucleotide? True. Is it a polypeptides? Is it polysaccharides? So the answer is D. Macromolecules are made of all of these. All of these are polymers. So let's get this one right. Protein is described by biologists at how many levels? So proteins have about, let's say, is it 4? Yeah, 4 levels. Proteins are described by biologists at 4 levels. We have primary level, secondary level, tertiary level, and quaternary level. So its answer for question 47 is 4. 4. So that is D. Sequence of positional information of amino acid is given by, so the sequence of amino acid or the position of the amino acids in a protein is given by the primary structure. That is 48. The answer is B. 49. In the primary structure of proteins, let's see the primary structure of proteins. The left end represents, okay, the left end of the primary structure of protein represents, is it the first amino acid? Okay, the C terminus. Let's see the options. The right end represents the last amino acid. That is the N terminal, which is false. This one is false. This one is false. C. The left end will represent the first amino acid. Yes, so the first amino acid, which is the N terminus. So that actually the answer is C. The left end of the primary structure of protein represent the first amino acid, which is the N terminus. Let's see as seen here. 49. The answer is C. Question 50. Let's see. We are to name the used amino acid in the above diagram. So the first one, we have the first side chain. This one is that of a serine. The second one, this one is made of, this one is that of cysteine. So the options between A and D. The next one is tyrosine. Then the next one, this one is this is the C terminus, and I think this one is not complete. This side chain is formed side chain of a glutamic acid. So this one is a formed side chain of a glutamic acid. So the answer I think will be A. The answer is E, because this side chain is a side chain of a glutamic acid. There should be an extended carboxylic, but there is a mistake here. Or you can drop your answer in the comment section after watching if there is any argument here, so that we can all discuss here. Which of the following is correct about secondary structure? Which of this is correct about secondary structure? Okay, so helix is a primary structure. In proteins, only left-handed helices are observed. In proteins, only right-handed helices. So the answer is C. So right-handed helices, like alpha helix, are the observed ones, or the observed secondary structures in proteins. The answer is C. Let's take note of that. 52. Which structure is absolutely necessary for the many biological activities of proteins? So the tertiary structure defines the biological activity or the functions of proteins in a biological environment. So The answer is B. 52 is B. Let's take note of that. 5.3. When an assembly of more than one polypeptide occurs, it is known as one or more polypeptides occur. So we have a straight chain polypeptide, and they assemble, we get a quaternary structure. 3. The answer is D. So a polypeptide can be a protein which is, let's say, in what you call it, a tertiary structure form. When they assemble, they form a quaternary structure. So the answer for 53 is D. 5.4. Which of the following is correct about human hemoglobin? So human hemoglobin, which of this is true about hemoglobin? Wow. Hemoglobin is made up of 2 alpha and 2 beta subunits. This one is true. It can transport both oxygen and carbon dioxide. It is true. It is present in red blood cells. It is true. So the answer is all the above. So the answer is all the above. 54. The answer is D. 55. Select the incorrect statement from the following. So the incorrect statement from the following: most of the enzymes are proteins. Okay. Hemoglobin is an example of quaternary structure of protein. Is true. In a primary structure of protein, the left hand is N-terminus and the right hand is the C-terminus. Is true. In proteins or polypeptides, the amino acids are joined by glycol. This one is so even awkward. So the answer for question 55 is D. So the joining is a peptide bond or an imide bond, not glycosidic bond in proteins. Which of the following possesses a heterocyclic ring? So a heterocyclic ring is made of 2 or more atoms in the same ring structure. So is it adenine? Is it guanine and cytosines? Is it thymine and uracil? So all of these are made of heterocyclic ring. So they are made of both carbon and nitrogen as part of their ring system. Okay. 57. Identify the nucleoside from the following. Nucleoside. Okay, so the nucleoside is made of a nitrogenous base and a ribose sugar without a phosphate group. So a nitrogenous base, a ribose sugar without a phosphate group. So we have adenosine, you have uric acid, you have uridine, you have cetidilic acid. Okay, so which of this is a nucleoside? Which of this is a nucleoside? Let's see. We have adenosine. So adenosine, you have uridine. Okay, so the adenosine and with adenine and ribose sugar. Uridine is this one too is a nucleoside because it's made of uracil and a ribose sugar. So let's see, we have A, and so yeah. So the answer is B because adenosine and uridine are nucleoside. They are just made of the named nitrogenous base and the ribose sugar. The answer is B. 58. Which of the following act as a genetic material? So without wasting much time, the answer is A. RNA and DNA act as a genetic material in plant and animals, or say in living tissues. 59. Sugar plus nitrogenous base forms a nucleoside. 59. They form a nucleoside. So the answer is A. 60. Sugar plus nitrogenous bases plus phosphate forms a nucleotide. This one is a nucleotide and this one is a nucleoside. So the answer is B for question 60. 61. How many nitrogen atoms are present in adenine? So adenine is a pyrimidine made of 2 rings. Each ring has 2 nitrogen atoms and 1 amino group out. So the answer is 5. 5 nitrogen atoms are present in adenine. Question 60. You have this, you have that, the diagram nicely drawn. What was the question about? Okay, the linkage represented by arrows. What was the linkage? Okay, this linkage, this linkage is a phosphodiester bond. Okay, so the phosphodiester bond links the individual nucleotides to form the DNA structure within the RNA. So the answer is B, phosphodiester bond. DNA and RNA are they polypeptides? Are they polysaccharides? Are they polynucleotides? So the two are polynucleotide because they are made of several nucleotide residues. Okay, how many percentage of total cellular mass is formed by nucleic acid? So when you take the mass of a cell, what percentage of the mass is formed by the nucleic? About 5 to 7% of the mass of the cell is made of nucleic acid. So answer is C. Which of the following are purines? So purines are adenine. So that is A and B. Straightforward is A and B. Guanines and adenines are purines, whereas cytosines, thymines, and uracils are the pyrimidines. Which of the following are pyrimidines? Okay, so just substituted. Okay, so you have cytosine, you have thymine, you have uracil. So this one is all the above. All the above are pyrimidines. Okay. DNA contains what? Okay, DNA contains a ribose sugar, a 5-deoxyribose sugar, a 3-deoxyribose sugar, or a 2-deoxyribose. So the answer is D. It is a 2-deoxyribose sugar. That is the hydroxy on the carbon 2 of the ribose is off. The bond present between two nucleic acids is a phosphodiester linkage. Phosphodiester linkage, as we said earlier. So the Watson-Cricket structure of DNA is, so DNA structure of represented by Watson-Cricket, how helical they are, is a secondary structure. So the answer is B. Secondary structures are what Watson-Cricket represented with the stairs, how helical they are. Which of the following is correct about DNA? So question 70, which of this is correct about DNA? You have a double helical structure in which two strands of polynucleotides run antiparallel. A double helical structure in which two strands of polynucleotides runs antiparallel. Backbone is formed by sugar phosphate sugar backbone. Okay. Nitrogenous bases project more or less perpendicular to backbone and faces inside. So the answer is D. So all of these statements about DNA are true. Let's see this. The diagram represents the nitrogenous bases. We identify them. Okay, so let's look at this structure. This one is straightforward, a purine and adenine. And let's see, this structure is, I think this one is the uracil. Yeah, I think this one will be uracil. So answer will be B. Yeah, answer will be B. So I think the answer uracil, yeah, to be as well. Let's see how it is. If I see you have any question, just drop out the comment section so that I can continue. Let's see, this one is adenine, this one is uracil. Which one of the following is a diagrammatic representation of nucleotide? So diagrammatic representation of nucleotide. So the answer is D. That's how nucleotides are represented. The answer is D. Nucleotides are represented with this: a phosphate group, a nitrogenous base, and a sugar nucleotide. Which one is correct about the following diagram? Wow. So this diagram is it a nucleotide? It contains a pyrimidine nitrogenous base? No. It is used to form DNA? No. It is used to form RNA rather. So this is an adenylate acid used to form RNA rather. So this is the answer is D. That is D. Which one is correct about DNA once again? DNA exists as a double helix. Two strands of polynucleotides in DNA are antiviral. The nitrogenous bases are projected more. Okay, this one is true. The answer is D. All the above statements about DNA are true. 75. At each step of an ascent in beta or bDNA, a double helical structure, the strand turns 36 degrees. 36 degrees. So bDNA, unlike aDNA and zDNA or zDNA, the helical structure turns 36 degrees at each step, each strand. 1 full turn of bDNA, and of course, so 1 full turn of bDNA helix strand will involve about 10 nitrogenous base pairs. So the answer is C. Select the incorrect statement from the following. So these nitrogenous bases have heterocyclic rings. True. In most of the organisms, the DNA is a genetic material. It's true. Adenylate acid is a nucleoside. It's true. So say question D. The rise per 10. Okay, the answer is let's see. The answer is C. Adenylate acid is a nucleoside. No, it is already a nucleotide rather. So the answer is C. The answer is C. Let's take notes. Okay, I think this is the last page for us to end. Okay, 78. There are hydrogen bonds. There are dash hydrogen bond between AT and dash hydrogen bond between JC. So we have about 2 hydrogen bonds between adenine and thymine, and 3 between guanine and cytosine. So the answer is C. 78. The answer is C. 78. The answer is C. Let's take note. 79. Plants produce an enormous diversity of substances that have no apparent roles in growth and development processes and are classified under the heading of. So structures or compounds produced by plants that have no effect on their growth, but they are just ejected for other functions. They are called secondary metabolites. Secondary metabolites. They have no absolute function on the plant growth, but they are important to them though. Secondary metabolite. 80. Which one of the following is a secondary metabolite? So amino acids, sugar. Okay, the answer is the C. C is a secondary metabolite because they have no apparent role on plants, but they are relevant. Like the antibiotics, they are relevant in driving away pathogens. Yeah, but they have no absolute roles on their growth. Amino acids, sugars, and proteins have a role to play on the plant growth, and they are referred to as a primary metabolite. Which one of the following statement is correct? Primary metabolites have identifiable functions. True. It's incorrect. Okay. Some secondary metabolites have ecological importance. Well, it's true. Secondary metabolites like this that are useful to plants. It's true. Secondary metabolites are not found in phosphorus. So the answer is D. 81. The answer is D. The answer is D. 82. Which one of the following are pigment? Pigment. So which of this is a pigment? So a pigment, is it a carotenoid, a morphin, vinblastine, carotenoids and anthocyanins, and resin? So carotenoids and anthocyanins are the pigment among these. It's a pigment among these. 83. Which one of the following is not a polymeric substance? Wow, a polymer. So straightforward answer is morphin. Morphin is not a polymer. Protein is cellulose. Rubbers are all polymers, but morphin is not a polymer. Which of the following secondary metabolites are used as drugs? So which of these are used as drugs? I think vinblastine and curcumin are the drug producing secondary metabolite among these. So 84, the answer is B. The answer is B. 85. Which one of the following is a secondary metabolite? Let's see. The lemon oil glass, the sucrose, lactose, glycine. So the answer is A. Straightforward. This is a secondary metabolite. Now let's see this column and how we can match it. Very simple. The A is a pigment. So let's see which of these is a pigment. And we start from there. So A matches to 4. So we have A matching to 4. This B to 2. Because terpenoids are So it's monoterpenes and diterpenes are terpenoids. Then C to 3 alkaloids are morphines and codeines are alkaloids. You have lectins to D to 1. Okay, so D to, what is the D? The lectins into 1. Okay, so concatenavalents are lectins. Then the E is to 5. The E is to 5. Okay, so aberrants and racins are also toxins. And vinblastine and curcumins are used in drugs. The answer is B for question 86. Now the last question for us to end. Which of the following are secondary metabolites? So we have flavonoids, rubber, antibiotics, scent and gas. So all of these, all the above listed, the A, B, C are all secondary metabolites. So the answer for the 87 is D. Thanks for watching. We are going to continue with the objectives and their solution in the next video. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button so that you can receive every update from this channel. We are going to progress in the next video with other solutions and the rest. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel after watching. Thank you.